I want to fly like a dragon? Yo, everybody, it's your main man, Mighty Albert, and man, oh man, have I been excited to make this video. It's not every day or every week, or lately it's been like every other month. But anyway, I've been waiting to make a World of Warcraft video again since my last one I made with my cousin like last freaking year. And man, I'm excited. Didn't I say I was excited? Well, I'm excited. But first, I just want to say I am making this video practically like 5 or 6 days before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to all you who are watching this video. I am thankful for every one of you out there watching this. So Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Ramadan, whatever you may celebrate during the holiday season. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. That's why I got my little Christmas attire going on here. It's very nice. It's soft and fuzzy. I like it because it's soft and fuzzy. So this is pretty much going to be probably my last review video I do this year, you know, in the new coming year, like, 2022 or whatever. This is going to be my last review. And with all the disappointing games that 2022 has graced our presence with, right? There's been a lot of disappointing games, a lot of delays, a lot of pushbacks. I was expecting World of Warcraft, ironically, to be one of those games. And man, am I pleasantly wrong about this. And we're going to talk about why I think it's really good expansion. Like, it's incredible. Why I think this could potentially be one of the better expansions. And I'm talking probably even better than Legion for some of you who've been playing a while. I think it's going to be much better than Legion, just at the pace that it's going. And what I'm hoping that the devs continue to do with Dragonflight, and some of the things I suggest that they fix to make the game even better, and potentially even better than like some of the great expansions like Wrath of the Lich King, and I personally loved Cataclysm and Mist of Pandaria. And I think that this expansion has the potential to be the best. But if this is your first time on the channel, please do me the favor of liking the video, sharing it with your friends, and if you really freaking like this video or any of my content, consider subscribing, because by 2023, I'm hoping to gain a whopping 2 subscribers by then. Yeah, I set expectations very high for myself. But without any further ado, let's jump right in to why I think Dragonflight has the potential to be one of the best expansions that WoW has ever seen. So if you're familiar with World of Warcraft at all, you'll know that the recent years and the recent expansions, WoW has fallen a bit short, to say the least, right? We've had expansions that felt like they've wasted your time, that, expansions where you feel like you have to do a bunch of chores to get anywhere with your character or with any kind of player progression, right? It just didn't seem like a game where you could just log in for an hour or two, get somewhere with your character and have fun, maybe get some gear, or maybe just gain reputation with the faction that you desired, right? But Dragonflight has felt so much different, right? It feels that like the moment you get off in the Waking Shore, right? I'll show some gameplay footage so you don't have to stare at me all day. If you just log in, right, to the game and you jump right into the new expansion, you are met not only with an amazing looking zone, right? The art team always nails it and hits it right out of the freaking park, right? But you are met with this sense of exploration, right? You feel like you're in a brand new zone, and I think it feels good not only because it's brand new, right, but because we're back on Azeroth, right? We're back at the home where it all started, dragons, right? Who doesn't like freaking dragons? I love dragons. You should love dragons too if you don't like them. But what I'm trying to get to is when we went into the Shadowlands, right? You felt like, okay, it's an alien place, it's not Azeroth, it's not somewhere on Azeroth that we haven't explored, or maybe that we've read in some of the novels that we've heard about, but we just haven't seen in game yet. But we've always heard about the Dragon Isles, right? So the chance to actually see the Dragon Isles is a huge opportunity that we were all hyped up for. At least I was really hyped up for, right? And we're met with this open zone, right? I mean, this zone is, the Waking Shore is massive. You know, even if we were able to fly on our normal flying mounts, and we'll get into that stuff later, but if we were able to fly on our normal flying mounts, it would take us forever to get from one side of the zone to the other, right? So just the grand scape of one single zone is just insane, right? And it's filled with all this lush forest and rivers and volcanic activity, and it really makes you feel like you're exploring something brand new, and you want to go explore it, right? Whereas with Shadowlands, for me at least, it didn't feel like that. It felt like everything was very like separated, right? You had the Kyrian zone, right? You had Bastion on one side, you had Maldraxxus in another area, you had Revendreth, and they felt separate, right? It didn't feel like you were playing an expansion. It felt like you were playing a zone. And that brings me to my next point, is that this whole continent, right? This Dragon Isles, it feels like one living, breathing organism, which really sets the tone for the player to feel like, wow, I am on the Dragon Isles, right? You never really felt like I'm in the Shadowlands. You just felt like you were in Bastion or in Maldraxxus. Going back to what I said without repeating myself, is you always felt like you were playing a zone and not an expansion. So right off the rip, you start doing your storyline quests. You maybe break off and do some side quests, but already before you freaking know it, you are already introduced to the spectacle and the freaking awesome feature of dragon riding. And man, let me tell you, I thought dragon riding was going to be cool, but when I actually got to try it, I don't want to fly any other way. You know, it changes the dynamic, because for me, when you were flying, I was just like, okay, I'm going to fly, I'm going to tab, and I'm just going to let my character cruise. But you actually, I mean, for me, I'm entertained by just flying, just cruising around and looking at all the zones. It makes even gathering herbs and gathering minerals, like for mining, that much more fun and exciting, because you could cover more ground, you could swoop down, you swoop up the mountain. It's just such an awesome feeling. And there's nothing holding you back from, even as soon as you get dragon riding, hunting all the medallions to upgrade your flying. And I think that is just a kick-ass feature, because it lets the player do what they want to do first. There's no holding your hand, making you have to finish the main story quests in order to just deviate. I mean, I found myself multiple times not even questing, like I was just gathering herbs. I went to the main city capital of Dragon Isles and I just crafted for a couple of hours. I didn't even level. I wasn't worried about getting gear. I wasn't worried about hitting level 70 right away. I was enjoying the journey. And this is where I think Dragonflight separates itself from Shadowlands, is that the journey in itself is so rewarding and it feels so good to just play the game. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel like you're missing out on something, right? You don't have a legendary to go grind. You don't have to do any of that. But once you hit level 70 and you finally say to yourself, all right, it's time to go get some gear, you are met not only with a really awesome set of dungeons, but a very clear path on what I need to do. And that's just simply do dungeons or PvP and get loot. And that in itself, just the simplicity of it, not worrying about getting loot or progression from a different source to get your character's power up to speed for raiding or for mythic dungeons or for PvP. Just know you hit max level, go get gear from PvP or go get gear from dungeons. And that is great. And even professions is his own freaking video. I could talk about professions on it forever, but just saying very briefly, professions don't even feel like they did last expansion, excuse me. They feel like something totally different. And I love how there's little talent trees within these professions where you could sit down and really ponder and really decide what route I want to take as a miner, as a blacksmith, as an enchanter, as a leather worker, right? You could really get into your profession, and that gives you a sense of character identification where, like, yeah, I'm a paladin, but I'm not a smith. I'm an engineer. I can make gadgets for you, make it easier for you to traverse the terrain, right? Or I'm an alchemist. I can make potions for your raids, or I can make you feel like it matters that what you chose as a profession, and that feels awesome. I want to touch on some of the things I might be a little bit concerned with. They're not code red things or anything like that, but I just feel myself as a player, as someone who's loved this game since 2007, I feel myself being a little bit worried about this. And this isn't really old. This is just something that I find myself really worrying about. And that is the fact that I want to play an alt so bad, right? And I find myself playing my mage. I want to start my warrior. I really want a rogue. But one of the things that's holding me back from making a new character is the fact that I feel like I'm starting over and I'm missing out on character progression, particularly with the renown system, with the reputations of, you know, the Tuskar or the horseman lady people, like, I don't know what they're called, the factions, or like the black dragons, right? I'm getting all this renown on my paladin, my main character, right? But I don't want to start over on my mage or start over on my rogue, right? I want to keep working. So I feel like I'm almost wasting time on an alt character. I really would like to see, maybe not necessarily an integration of, or like a crossing, or like a you know, like account wide renown system, right? With these reps, I think that maybe if you've hit a certain level of renown on your main character, that getting a certain level of renown on an alt can go by twice or 3 times faster because you're already there. You've already worked it up. And that way you can get up to speed of where you were on your alt, so that you don't feel like you have to regrind those reputations all over again. Another thing that I really would like to see the World of Warcraft devs work on is I've noticed that, you know, just like with any game, you know, toxicity in players still exists. It's never going to go away. There's always going to be people that are toxic, who are just, you know, crapheads, right? Who are always going to troll you. A way that I remember myself, you know, back in the day, the way we dealt with trolls, and this was before all the sharding and all of the cross-realm platform stuff, is that when you're doing a dungeon, right, or when you get a group, you remember those players that you used to play with back in Wrath of the Lich King and BC and Classic, right? You remembered, oh, stay away from this guild because they're a bunch of jerks. They're a bunch of trolls. They're a bunch of ninja looters, right? You knew to stay. But with sharding and cross-realm, you know, integration now that we have in 2022 with Dragonflight, you can't keep track of those players. So they need to make a system where it's like a player rating system, right? Like after a dungeon, or if you've partied up with that person and you find that they were helpful, you could give them a rating, like a star, like 1 to 5 star. Like, how did they play? Were they nice? Were they friendly? Were they helpful? Were they patient? Did they just leave after one wipe? This can help filter out a lot of the crappy players that you could still encounter in any MMORPG, really. And I think this would integrate well. Of course, there would have to be things that they would have to look of, you know, people trolling with their ratings, just giving you a 1-star rating for nothing. There would have to be a lot of like checks and balances to make sure someone couldn't just get review bombed, right? You wouldn't want that. But there needs to be something that keeps track of a player's in-game profile on how they behave, what kind of a player they are. And I think that would work really well in Dragonflight, especially now that, you know, you really do need to build a good pug if you want to move and progress forward in the game by yourself. However, that being said, I do think that Dragonflight has the potential to really be one of the most memorable, great expansions, right? They're already doing it with like the cross Mythic Plus, you know, grabbing old dungeons from old expansions. It feels really good to do those keys again, to play, you know, the Jade Serpent, you know, or the Shadow Moon Burial Grounds. Those are great dungeons, and it's really fun revisiting them. I think what they should do is also integrate some of the older raids from the old expansion. Maybe not have the item level set as high as the current raid dungeons, but maybe just slightly underneath them, and just set it at 1 difficulty, maybe between normal-ish and, you know, in the middle between normal and heroic. That would be fun. I think if they just really focused on content that has nothing to do with player power, right? Like they're doing with dragon riding racing. I think that's really awesome. I think there needs to be more activities like that, like more mini game content that you can get awarded cosmetics, things for your dragon, things for maybe pets, like clothes for your pets. That would be freaking cool, right? Have like an outfit for your pet. I mean, they're already giving out a massive W in patch 10.0.5 with the new little kiosk thing where you could just get coins from logging in and just you could just by playing the game you get rewards like that kind of stuff feels good. It makes people want to log in and play the game and not feeling that they're doing a chore, like they're being forced to log in to get a reward, but like just simply playing your game, you'll get rewarded for that. And that feels good because WoW has never had a veteran system like like every other freaking MMORPG has ever had. Even the oldest MMORPG, Ultima Online, has a system like that. So it's about freaking time. Massive dub for the Warcraft team. But I really want to hear what you guys think about Dragonflight. Me, I personally, I'm loving it so far. It's been a month of nonstop playing it. It says here I have about 75 hours at level. Is that it? No, I have more than that. Hold on. /played. Okay, yeah. I have 5 days played at level 70. So I'm really enjoying this game so far. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please remember, if you like this video, to hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike. Let's talk about what you think about Dragonflight and where do you think the game is going from here. And if you're a classic Andy and you don't like Dragonflight, I would really like to know an honest reason why you don't like it. So thanks guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.